Hi there. It's
Hey,
Myrna
Myrna.
Selzler here with Ryan Nocera. And so I'm really excited to see Ryan today. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Good. Ryan and I see each other fairly regularly because we are in a mastermind together. And because I'm Canadian and he's American and he deals in trading, and it sounds really exciting, I've been really curious to know how this could work, not only obviously for Americans, but how it could work potentially for Canadians. And Ryan tells me that at the end of this, he will give me, for sure, I will get at least one insight and one piece of comfort that allows me to think I can move into what I perceive as high risk. My background is owning real estate, and I always find that quite safe. Even if the market goes down, it's not my day to sell. I'm okay with it. But trading seems volatile, and I hate paying CEOs millions of dollars when they don't make money. So that's another thing I don't like.
Sounds good.
So there you've got my inherent biases. So Ryan, could you start by telling us, how did you get into this business?
Oh, wow. So I was always a little bit interested in the stock market in general, right? Even as a teenager, like I was a bad student and I grew up, I wouldn't say poor, but like middle class, like not had food on the table and had a roof over my head, but not much else. So I thought how I might be able to get out of those circumstances is because I was a bad student. I barely could get C's, in school. I was like, well, maybe I could start a business, maybe something like that. And as you go to start a business, you pick up like Inc. magazine, Fortune, and I ran across Warren Buffett, and I'm like, okay, he's saying like you can invest and you can make money over these years. So it's something I always put a little bit of time and effort into as a young kid. And then as I got into adulthood, and I worked all through college, I didn't go away. I had a job all the time and went to school at night, so I didn't have debt at the end of college. But it also meant I had some extra money because I was just a good steward of what I had. So I would throw a few bucks into the market. I was like, wow, I'm doing okay. I put $1,000 in and you make 100 and you're like, okay, that's good. But how does anyone make a living off of this? So that started a journey as like a kid to, I grew up in New Jersey, about a mile from New York City. So I'm right next to Wall Street. So it started that journey into seeing how do people actually do it. And then I found myself a few years later, I owned a business and I summarily drove that business into the ground. As just I wanted to live the entrepreneurial dream, but it just wasn't for me managing customers, payroll, suppliers, all that stuff. It's all not fun. And it's not what I thought it was going to be. So I got back into investing and I was like, well, let's go back and talk to some people. Let's make this effort. Right. So I go to my very first, I see someone promoting a seminar online and it's free. And I'm like, I can go and talk to people. Oh, this sounds great. And then I get there and I get Myrna, I'm sure this has happened to you in real estate, where you get there and it looks like a networking event, but in reality, it's a pitch. And I'm like, I don't want to go in. It's going to be, hopes and dreams and, give us some gajillion dollars and your credit cards and your firstborn and, we'll make you a millionaire. So at the time, I actually didn't have a lot of money. So I actually went in the bathroom and I hid and I'm like, should I go? And I'm talking to myself. I'm like, should I go home? Should I go in and listen? It's a true story. And I said, wait a second.
In the bathroom, like going, what the heck? How did I get here?
Yeah, what do I do? Where are the exits? Can I get past the guy I just talked to? All that kind of stuff. Then I'm like, wait a second. I don't really have enough money to buy anything. Maybe I could throw in a couple bucks, but I bet they're trying to sell something that's like thousands. So I was like, I'm going to go in and just listen. I'm going to talk. I'm going to take free coffee, one of the things. And I went in and listened. And the guy giving the presentation wasn't a pitch artist. He was a scraggly guy from Jersey, just like me. And he's like, the market does this, the market does that. If it does this, I make, $3,000. If it does nothing, I have no risk. And if it fails, I lose, a couple $100. I'm like, oh my God. This is how people do it. And everything he said just went into my brain and it's been burned in there. The guy who actually did the presentation, I don't even know, but he was the first person that changed my life in that moment, because after he was done speaking, I couldn't give the people money fast enough. I was like, what do you have? How can I do what he does? All that kind of stuff. And it started me on this journey, and I had to find a way to pay for a course to learn from a mentor. I wound up getting a mentor who wasn't the same person giving the presentation, but life-changing nonetheless. He's this tall guy from the West Coast who is actually a black belt in martial arts, and taught me to trade, and just all this knowledge. I remember sitting in a week-long seminar, like, I don't know anything. And somewhere in there, all that knowledge was getting in there, because then over the next few months, I started to make a success of myself, where I sold my business, started trading full time, and here I am, 12 years later.
Wow. So that for the past 12 years, all you've done is trade and yourself. Yeah. And I know you have 3 little kids, and they act.
I got 3. Yep, I have active kids. You've met, I think, all 3, but more importantly, my 2-year-old joins our calls, frequently. She's beautiful, but I have a 9-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 2-year-old tomorrow.
Wow.
Yep.
And so tell me, what do you do? How do you help people?
Cool. So a few years after I was making money as a trader, you're sitting, I don't think people realize what working from home, but they probably know now, but I was very early to the work from home laptop lifestyle, right? But work from home, I wasn't at the point. My wife is a registered nurse, so she had a full-time gig that's like her. It's not money, it's helping people and saving lives. So I couldn't just get her to leave her job and let's go live at the beach. So I worked from home for right after I started I wasn't making a tremendous amount of money, but I was consistent, and I was bringing home enough money to support at least me. So I'm sitting in my apartment kind of all day, right? I'm barely leaving. I'm just trading the market all day. And this is how it started, not how it ended. And I'm making money, but I'm living a very unhealthy lifestyle, basically waking up, sitting at my kitchen table and working, sitting the market, trading, losing one, making money, then losing back, then making money again, that kind of stuff. But I'm still making money, but my lifestyle isn't what I wanted it to be. So I, through a mutual friend, he's like, hey, such and such in North Jersey, they have a consulting practice, and they're trying to do some investing / trading. Would you want to go there and just show them what you're doing? And I'm like, leave my house to talk to someone? Sure, why don't I? Yeah. So I got dressed up, and I was like, oh my God, this is like going to a job. You would have thought what I was doing. And I go there, and I explain what I do, and they're on their way to learning some stuff. And I'm like, hey, I would do this. And they're like, oh wow, that's brilliant. I never thought of that. How does that go? And I got to the point where I was enjoying talking about it and teaching people what I do and how I do it, because I had put my own, after a little bit of time, 2 years doing this, making a life out of it, I started to figure out what works for me. And not necessarily everything I was taught, 100%. So I started teaching these 2 gentlemen, and then I was like, wait a second, I wonder if they would pay me. So I was like, I'm getting kind of exhausted teaching this for free. And they were like, we would love to pay you. How about we buy you lunch? And I was like, how about you pay me? And it turned into a consultant to these people. And that lasted for a little while. And then I started going to events where in the trading world, just again, because I felt like I had plateaued just sitting by myself in my apartment, where it's just me. It's very solitary, the investing trading world. So I started to go to trading events, and I was like, meet other people who wanted to trade. And I got the bad news that you're basically talking to people, they aspire to something they just haven't put the work into. So people ask me for advice. Again, I give advice for free because I just wanted to give back a little, and it was fun to talk to people. And then it eventually turned into, coaching and consulting and teaching a course. And then I started renting an office just to get out of my house. Again, that habit of getting out of your house. People probably know now because of COVID, what it's like to not have that, to get up in the morning and leave your house and grab coffee and get to an office and BS with friends and all that kind of stuff. Where I had that solitary lifestyle, and I had rented an office, and so be it. There was another trader there, and he's now my business partner in the coaching stuff and teaching people how to trade. And, from there, it just built into the point where as people came to me, I didn't have to do much. It was just, talking about what I do in a day. I mean, I can think of nothing more exciting of being able to help people, but I don't really have to do much because all that knowledge is here, right? I could, in a few lessons, I can get someone at very minimum, better than average trader, and then give me some time and I'll have you hitting home runs.
So what is it that makes you different? Like you just told me what the outcome is that makes you different. What's the process that makes you different? What's going on in that brain?
So I think what happened is I described it this way, and let me know if this makes sense, is I was too dumb to quit. Right. I just didn't know any better. I just kept at it. Right. Where they taught me something and I feel like most people try and they give up. Try, give up. I just didn't have that. Right. I tried. I was not making any money at it. And I think it's just that I've been able to work hard enough where I see the market in a certain way that was taught to me by a mentor who did this for 30 years. But I'm then able to distill that down to and investing in technical analysis world is huge. I narrow things down to just this. I only care about the parts that pay me money and support my kids. And that's all I give to my students and clients now. So I would say I've distilled it down into I call it a 3-step process and deliver that to my students and clients.
Okay. Are the 3 steps secret, or can you talk about them a bit more? Because I want you to you can't reveal all your secrets, but so okay. So here, like I'm a really busy person. Like, in fact, we even had to have this 20 minutes late, right? Yeah. So how would I have time or get the distilled knowledge? Again, I guess if I only learned 3 steps, I could learn 3 steps for you in no time.
Yeah. So here's the cool thing for you. I know how busy you are, right? Because your brokerage and your real estate investments keep you busy. We have a better relationship than most, but the busy professional, this is what I do is ideal for, because those 3 steps aren't really a huge secret, but I deliver the 3 steps to my students because I don't believe in that. I think the reason people give up is because there's that saying like give a man a fish, he eats for a day, teach a man a fish, he eats for a lifetime. Well, you can starve in that whole process of learning to fish, right? So what I do with those 3 steps is I deliver you those exact 3 steps that you have to do. And they're not even every day, they're kind of can be every week, right? And it's really just knowing where to buy a particular stock, right? That's the first thing. So what price to pay for it, right? The second thing is where to protect yourself, right? So if you're wrong, right, you want to keep your losses as close to 0 as possible, right? So very small. But then the third step is where am I going to bank some money? Where am I going to sell this thing to actually pay my bills? Because paper profits are great. 401k profits, IRA profits. I'm at that stage where that's getting more and more important. But for the longest time, even to now, I've got 3 mouths that need to be fed, including my own. And taking money out of the market every week and every month is way more important to me, and making sure my kids go to private school. I want my goals for them to stay in private school forever. And private schools don't take paper gains. They want actual money.
Okay. That sounds really like simple. Where to buy? Because again, as a layperson, I have no idea where to buy. Mm-hmm. What price I'd buy at. I don't know how to protect myself. Where will I be able to cash out, which is sort of so that I can get money out when I need. Yeah, like I'd be at a loss to answer any one of those questions. And I'm a really sophisticated real estate investor.
I believe it. Yeah.
And I am at a complete loss as to know this stuff. You know how I invest now?
How?
I think about what I'm going to use, where I'm spending my money. So I bought Apple, okay?
Sure. Yeah.
And then March 15th, I bought Zoom.
Okay. March 15th of 2020?
Yep.
Oh, wow. Great.
But I don't get many of those insights.
Of course. Yeah, sure.
Insights to pay the bills.
Yeah, of course. It's like I said, paper gains versus paying the bills.
Yeah. And I have, just because I want to complain. It used to be $5,000 in total. It's now 54 cents.
Oh, wow.
It's not 54 cents a share. It is. And I'm not selling it because I want to watch what happens.
Okay.
But like that was not knowing when to get out of the market.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Happens to a lot of people. Most people I deal with at first point, they've gone through some pain largely by the time they come to me, unfortunately. But even like this week, I gave a trade, and they're not companies that you haven't heard of. Like the one that's in my mind right now is eBay, right? Everybody knows eBay, right? And it's trading for $67 right now, right? We put in, let's just say you should buy it at 64, protect yourself at 63, and take profits at 70. Okay, great. I'll lose $1 if this trade goes against me. Right. So let's just say you have 100 shares, you lost $100. But what did I say was your upside? Buy at 64, sell at 70, $6 a share. You made $600 on your money on $100 on 100 shares. That's the goal. And that $600 is how you pay bills.
What's so crazy is eBay. When you say eBay, well, that's obvious. I use eBay. Why have I never thought about investing in eBay?
Well, because hopefully you don't take the wrong lesson in that what I was saying is you have to know when to buy it and where to buy it. So hopefully it's not,
like you said, what companies to even think about. Like I have again, it's just so, the array is so vast. Okay, so we've been going here for about 15 minutes, so we should maybe wrap this up.
Cool.
But tell me, what would I do to start? Like how I talk to you, I read your white paper.
Sure. Well, the first thing I can do is I'll give you a link. You're welcome to I think the easiest thing to do is just go to my website, precisiontradinglabs.com, and there's a free report right on the main page. I get right to it. I'm not like a BS kind of person. There's a free report there. Put in your name and email address. You'll get the free report, read it over, and it kind of describes a little bit what we just talked about, that whole point of where to buy, where to sell, and where to protect yourself. Because if you did just that, you'll do better than average, right? But then once you get that report delivered to you, you can actually book a call with me and I'll show you a real trade in real time. Like, what am I working on? What am I waiting on? That kind of stuff. And what I'm kind of giving out, because I'm pretty transparent about what I do and who I deal with. And I kind of show behind the scenes look of what I'm delivering. And usually on the call, I tell people, you're welcome to either try this yourself, meaning like mirror what I'm doing, or set it up. There's something in Canada, they have it also, is that it's called a paper trading account. So let's say you have an investing account, they have something where you could practice. So you could buy eBay at 64 and see how it goes. And it's just fake money. It's not real. And that allows you to learn what you're doing and like, hey, I did okay on the paper money. Now, rubber meets the road in real money, but it's a good way to get taught.
Okay. So you were going to give me one insight or one piece of comfort before we wrap that up. What would that be?
The one piece of comfort is knowing that you can do this, right? You, anybody listening, whether it's you, Myrna, who just, it doesn't have to be a successful real estate woman. It could be, a butcher, baker, candlestick maker, right? Because it doesn't take a tremendous amount of time. And if you learn those 3 lessons that I told you before about where to buy, where to sell, and where to protect yourself, you're in fancy shape. You're going to do really well. And I am nothing special, right? I don't have any remarkable education. I got lucky that I had a scrappy upbringing where I had to teach myself a lot of stuff, and I'm not afraid to fail. And I'm willing to keep trying. So there's nothing special about me that you can't do it too.
Okay. Well, I'm really intrigued about where to buy, where to sell, where to protect myself.
Mm-hmm.
I am really intrigued. Okay. So we're going to, I think that you and I have talked about, maybe I'll sort of launch on this little journey with you.
Okay. Yeah.
Good luck in, I don't know, 180 days.
Yeah.
Again, about what my journey has been, or maybe even sooner, who knows, but
sure.
Where to sell, how to protect myself. Because I don't know the answers to any of those questions, but yet there's money to be made there, and it can be recurring revenue, simple money that it just repeats itself over and over again. Whereas with real estate, I got to wait for a big cash out for the most part.
Yeah. No, yeah. The whole, you're hoping with trading that it's, once you get started, the ramp up period, inside of 3 months, you want to start seeing some gains, whether they're relatively small and then they build up, But you're hoping after you learn the process, you're trying to pull money out think of it more like a rental property, where you're trying to get a consistent cash flow. Hopefully it's just better and there's no broken toilets.
Okay, so I look forward to it, and I invite anybody that's listening to this to go to your website, precisionlabs.com, Precision Trading Labs.
That's right. Yep.
.com, and then book a call with you to have a conversation, because it can change someone's life if you can make money and not be having to sell your soul to someone. That's pretty cool. Okay, I'm looking forward to our journey.
Cool. Yeah, I'm excited.
Okay, thanks so much.
All right. Thanks, Myrna.
Bye-bye.
Bye.